Hello everyone, Artist Charles Wolf here, back again for another painting lesson. Today I will be creating for you all an abstract oil painting. Haven't done an oil painting in a while, so I'm excited to get back into this medium and to paint a beautiful piece for you all today. I'm going to start out by grabbing my Filbert brush, and to take that Filbert brush, dip it in a little bit of paint thinner, not too much, just a little dab, and then grab my Ultramarine Blue. The thinner will help the paint to run. I haven't used these paints in a while, so they're a little bit congealed. So a little bit of the thinner will help make everything flow nice and easy. Don't use too much, mind you, just a little dab is all you need. Here is some Cerulean Blue, a nice lighter blue here. Wonderful color, very bright. You can see the contrast more clearly on the palette versus on the canvas. There it goes. Sometimes the Cerulean Blue and the Ultramarine are very close in color and the camera can't quite catch the difference. But if you look at the palette, you'll see that they are a starkly different color. And a little bit of the white here adds some more interest. I'm holding the brush farther back than I normally do today. I'm trying to get some more freedom and looseness in my brush strokes, something I'm going to be attempting in my future paintings. I want them to look a little more painterly and not be so tight, trying to maintain a sense of just spontaneous freedom. And you'll see that I'm kind of twirling the brush around, holding it very far back, allowing the bristles to do a lot of the work for me, not being particularly careful where I'm putting the brush on at this point, and I'm just having fun with thwacking the paint on there, if you will. More of the Ultramarine Blue now. I really want there to be some interesting brush shapes and brush strokes happening in this piece. Part of the dynamic nature will be to have some of it be blended together smoothly, but also to have some sections that have some more dynamic movement with the brushwork. We'll see how it turns out as we go along. Here is some titanium white and some raw sienna blended together. So we'll make a nice light tan color, and we're going to use that color right about there, I think. Start to dance this across the canvas in a few different ways. A little more white now. Again, just sort of freely putting the paint out there, not worrying too much about where I'm putting things, just getting it onto the canvas, and then we can make adjustments as we go along. I'm using a bit of that liquid white. That is a nice watery medium. It is not made out of actual water, I don't believe. I believe it's oil, linseed oil mixed with titanium white paint. And it's the same stuff that Bob Ross uses in his paintings. Of course, this is nothing like a Bob Ross painting at all. It's an abstract, he probably wouldn't do that. But I am using the liquid white medium that is similar to what he uses. It's a nice flow medium, and it also lightens things up instantly, which is kind of fun and is an easy shortcut. Here is some of an orange color, a mixture of the lemon yellow and the permanent red that I have there. Nice, bright, bold red. I love the red in oil paint. It's so rich and vibrant. I tend to favor it when I'm painting because I just love the pigmentation. It's wonderful. Let's talk about the composition a little bit of this piece. I'm going to have everything moving towards the center, and then right in the center we'll put in a little bit of knife work with some white or a lighter color. I'm not sure quite yet how we're going to do that. And we will have everything moving towards the center. I've not done a piece like this before where I've focused on halves before, or I've done top to bottom mirroring and things like that. Today, though, we're going to really have everything moving towards the center and coming to a single focal point. Interested to see how this turns out. Now using some lemon yellow on the bottom left and on the side over here. Just putting some paint over here. Again, we can always cover things up if we don't like the way that they look. Oil paint's a little less forgiving than acrylic paint that I normally use, but the pigmentation is so much more rich that it's worth the extra effort. Here I'm using a palette knife to put that paint on there, lots of the pigment, brush it out in a few moments. Just adding some texture here and there. You'll see that it flows nicely over the liquid white that's already on the canvas. And we'll grab some more of that yellow, get that going as well. Back to my Ultramarine Blue and my Filbert brush. Start to put this in over the yellow, and I wanted some more contrast between the two colors. I feel like I covered up too much of the yellow, to be honest, and we may go back and fix that later. But for right now, we're going to go on and put some of this dirty brush, Ultramarine Blue, a little bit of yellow in there, more of that blue over on the right hand side here. Again, everything should be moving in towards the center of this composition. And I'm just blending it out a little bit more evenly. One of the things that is great about oil paint is that it blends so seamlessly and so easily. You can quickly get some nice gradations between the different sections, very effortlessly and easily. Liquid white now, got a purple color kind of going on here, lighten it up. Some of the vibrant violet comes forward. Beautiful. A little more over here, why not? One of the secrets, or one of the tricks to oil painting, is that a thin paint will stick to a thicker paint. So put some thick layers down first, and then you can layer over them with some thinner layers by adding a little bit of linseed oil or white spirits or what have you. Some sort of medium to make it thinner. A little paint thinner would work as well, and that should lay nicely over the top of a thicker area. I'm trying to be somewhat strategic where I'm putting my colors and not make everything too muddy. One strategy is to leave lots of blank canvas when you put down pure pigment so that you don't have everything get too muddy as you go along. Here's some more permanent red. Again, using that palette knife to apply thick layers. And then we'll take a larger brush here in a moment and start to blend some of this together a little more smoothly. Everything's a little bit jagged right now. Sometimes a painting will appear to be getting worse as you work on it, and then by degrees you'll bring it back around, and by the end it'll be like, wow, that looks great. But sometimes you have to get through these intermediate steps where there's a lot of white showing here and there, and things are not blending or coming together the way you want to get to a place where everything comes together nicely. Using some of that liquid white as a blending agent, putting it down in sections, and then I'm going to grab a very large brush, pull upwards, trying to stay in one color region at a time, making sure that I am completely covering the canvas. Now this big brush gives me wonderfully smooth textures, but does obliterate, unfortunately, some of the brushwork that I put in with my smaller brush. There's still some of it showing up in the blue, and so I'm satisfied with that. We may go back and put a little bit more variation in with the smaller brush over top of these smoothed out layers. I wanted this to transition nicer. Here's some more Cerulean Blue, and a little more of that will be up here, focusing on filling in where I have the canvas showing through. Lovely, luscious color. It plays so beautifully against the red and the darker blue. Very vibrant, wonderful color. Part of the fun of painting an abstract is that there is no rules. You really can't do anything right or wrong. You can just have fun with the color and the paint. Some artists get very fussy about the whole thing, need to do it a certain way or a certain technique. I find that I like to use my intuition and to just have fun with the paint. You can over-obsess and overanalyze and overthink a lot of things in life. Painting, especially in abstract, shouldn't be one of those things, I find. I like to just go after it, paint it, and make adjustments until it looks the way I see it in my head. I don't try to focus too much on any one thing. You can always limit yourself by sort of playing a game when you're painting. A game like, I'm only going to use these 3 colors. I'm going to have one of the colors touch the border of each color. I'm going to have groupings by number, so groups of 3, groups of 2, groups of 4, different kind of games that you can play to ensure that you have a nice variety in your abstract. You can paint a single color, the entire canvas. See what I'm getting at? There's no rules really here. There's self-imposed ideas and rules that you may put on yourself to breed creativity. When we have no rules at all, it can be a little bit, well, what do I do now? And that can be tricky. But don't feel like you need to necessarily worry about, is this the right way to do this? It's an abstract. There is no right way to do it. You just paint it. Whatever it becomes, and that is perfectly acceptable. Grab a brush, have fun with the color. Does it look dynamic? Does it look interesting to you? Then you've done a good thing. Don't obsess about making it perfect. It doesn't need to be. Look at other people's art and find elements about their art that you like, and then take that and run with it. Try to imitate that. Taking a clean chip brush, and I scraped off by pressing really hard some of that blue, and then I'm going to use my palette knife to do the same thing. Just felt like there was way too much of that dark blue there, and I want more of that yellow zing here, using my bright brush. Palette knife, it's really going to lay in this color nice and strong over that blue. See how easy that is? Just scrape it down and put more of the pure pigment thickly over top, and you'll never know. It's important to have a focal point in a piece. I think that's a nice idea. Not a rule, just a suggestion and a guideline that you can either follow or not, to you. So having everything kind of pushing to the center to have a focal point near the left to the center with that white is great, I think. I think it's interesting and pull the viewer's eye too. I like having an array of colors that are all flowing, and the primary colors are a great place to start. Some pinks, some reds, some yellows, some blues, a little bit of green here and there, all coming together in a beautiful, vibrant way. A little more of the titanium white mixed with the liquid white to make it run better. And again, a thinner paint will stick to a thicker paint, so thinning out my white is the way to ensure that when I put it over, it will stick nicely. Go a little bit crazy here, put a little bit too much on in a few spots, but you can always adjust things. Like on this blue here, decided I didn't like this white line I put, so I just got rid of it. Not hard to do, but we'll get to that in a moment. And we'll bring a line down to the bottom to connect that. It was like an explosion reaching outwards. My wife was the one who suggested that it looked like a circus tent looking upwards to the top, and that is why I went with the title Circus. Some wider strokes here, pushing the colors a little more expressively. A little more of that liquid white, and just start to blend the ultramarine blue into that, just to get that transition a little bit nicer. Grabbing my chip brush now with the Ultramarine Blue, and we'll just start to blend that out a little bit better. I didn't like that white, so we'll just get rid of it. Don't forget to paint the edges of your canvas. Smoothing this out. A little more of the Cerulean Blue, lifting that upwards, just lightening a few areas. A little more blue here at the bottom. That kind of white-gray mix wasn't very interesting. Having a little more blue down there will help make it more interesting, I think. Back to the Ultramarine Blue. Take a moment, if you would, and subscribe to this channel. Each and every subscriber helps me grow the channel. If you like what you see here, I'll have new painting videos and new time-lapse tutorials each and every week for you. I do all kinds of different paintings, oils, acrylic, sometimes even watercolor. I do landscapes, abstracts, digital art, all kinds of stuff. So stick around, more things are on the way, for sure. New paintings each and every week. Here is some of the permanent red with the palette knife. While you're at it, hit that notification bell. You'll get notified each and every time I upload a new painting. Pretty great thing. That way you don't miss any of the content. And a big shout out and a thank you to everyone who has subscribed already. I like how bold that red is at the top right. Thank you for watching, and here is the final piece.